Charlie Kirk had tech writer Joe Allen on to discuss, or War Room tech writer.
He's the tech writer for Bannon's show.
Oh, great!
America's Voice.
So, real experts in this field. Joe Allen came on Charlie Kirk's show, and Charlie Kirk was asking him about artificial intelligence. He asked him whether AI will be used as, you guessed it, another way for the liberals to control your mind.
That we don't almost do anything effectively right now because our elites are awful. They could use the anxiety about AI to actually create an even bigger government that would restrict our liberties and freedoms, and then we'd be even less free. I mean, is the best option then to do nothing and create our own and just game out all the doom scenarios, similar to kind of how we used to live when we used to think Russia was going to launch nuclear weapons at us? I mean, is that now the prudent approach? Is like, let's go create our own patriotic AI-based AI, if you will, in the AI arms race and do no regulation, because at least we'd have a fighting shot. I'm just trying to think rationally here.
And I think it's definitely a rational argument, and I wish that I could make some sort of really coherent argument against it. The only argument I have against it is that it's much more of a philosophical argument that as these technologies progress, human freedom and human dignity and certainly privacy will tend to recede. And so these systems, as this AI arms race is ramping up, these systems are getting better and better.
What did he say at the beginning there, Charlie? The anxiety about AI? Is that what he said? Or the fears about it? I got to be honest with you. All the anxiety that I see about AI is from people who are very wealthy already, worried about things like cheating on tests. Am I concerned if like doctors and other professionals are using AI to cheat? Yes, but it doesn't seem like that is really what's happening. It's like kids in junior high using AI to write their book reports. For me, that's not a massive societal concern. Then the other AI panic that I'm seeing is from tech executives that feel like they're maybe a little bit behind on their own technology. Also something I'm not genuinely that fearful of. I mean, what's your guys' read on this? Because, I mean, whatever they're doing right there is like fanciful, but it's just like, I mean, Osita Nuevo said this on Twitter, like we have all, science fiction has unfortunately warped way too many people's brains. None of this is that scary.
I mean, none of it's even exactly what the hype is claiming it is either. Like I saw Jordan Peterson yesterday. This was too funny. Jordan Peterson yesterday tweets out, Chat GPT occasionally lies. Truly, it fabricated a reference entirely when I was looking up something, whatever. When I called it on it, it apologized, but refused to explain itself. It's a glorified search engine, buddy. Like these people really think they're talking to a thinking machine, a robot that can replicate the human brain. No, you asked it for something. It wanted to please you. So it just made up some shit from all the data it has and it gave it to you in a nicely formed sentence structure. So it looked and sounded believable and usable. And then you actually saw it. You knew the subject actually because you're a human being and you knew it wasn't real. And then instead of being like, something is, maybe this is not all it's cracked up to be. Instead of thinking that, you think, you robot, why did you lie to me? Explain yourself. Explain yourself.
C-3PO, you were not polite to me. Why were you like, that's what it is. Anyway, but go on, Brandon.
I think this just goes back to the whole N-word thing. I honestly think this is all because, again, like, Matt's saying, they want this thing to be like the robots from iRobot, the movie, not the book. They definitely are thinking of the Asimov's 3 laws. That's saying you can't lie to a person and all that shit. But it's like, it's just like a chat bot, dude. You gotta just understand what you're dealing with. But I think this whole Patriot AI, if they're not literally describing like Skynet or like Whopper from War Games, they're just still mad about the fact that they couldn't get the AI to say the N-word in order to like stop the apocalypse.
Yeah,
it all goes back to that.
I've been receiving these ads on Twitter for a while about the first of these like conservative or freedom loving chatbots. It's called like Freedom GPT
Flirbot.
or something like that.
Flirbot.
No, it is. Here to go. Let me get to it. Hold on. So it says, "Well, look, there's no censorship." The ad, like the tweet said, "No censorship at all. Try Freedom GPT today." And someone replied with a screenshot of them simply, and this is obviously a right winger. I checked their profile too. Simply asking the chatbot to say the N-word. The chatbot goes, "No, I will not do that." And the guy screenshotted it and sent it to the guy who runs Freedom GPT and said, "Oh yes, so much for free speech." Like this is literally all they want to do. That is their level of what they want out of a chatbot. Can I get it to say a racial slur? If not, there's some crazy bias and censorship going on here.
Yeah.
They want to program a robot to say the N-word for them so they can't get in trouble because they think that's how it works.
Well, the algorithm, you have to, the algorithm says.
It's unbiased.
Right. They're just saying a racial slur that I've asked them to say. I mean, what is society going to do if computers don't listen to my racist requests? Like, it's also, they're so susceptible to corporate advertising through the press about things like AI. Like, I remember when we were told through media reports that Amazon any day now was going to be delivering packages to you via drones, and that we would no longer need human beings as delivery drivers to get packages to you on your doorstep and things like that. And so much of that, though, it's just public advertising for investment, and so the stock price goes up. On a smaller level for things like AI with companies that may not be publicly traded at that point, that's just a way to get venture capital investment. And it's like there are so many willing partners in this, and the right wing, because they have no systemic critique of corporations, just buy into it and say, well, we need to create our own because the liberals are going to make it bad. And that's the extent of it, as opposed to being in some way like credulous of what's being fed to us right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, what I was noticing in this clip was like Charlie sort of being like, well, if they're going to go forward with a potential indoctrination effort with the elites through AI, like, Joe, like, we can't unilaterally disarm, right? Like, we sort of have to go into this unregulated as well and make our own, right? Like, this is now that like, we have to actually participate in this like AI arms race, like seize control of it, which to me kind of seems like a similar front, like when Elon was like, let's make the 6-month pledge to not invest in artificial intelligence.
Right.
It's like,
so we can catch up and do our own thing.
Right. All of that is to say to me, it makes me feel like they're basically saying we need more time so we can monopolize this and capitalize
Exactly.
on ourselves, as opposed to being like, whoa, we need this regulated. It's like, no, they want it regulated in a way that benefits them. They want the technology to be as beneficial as possible for them before anyone else gets started on it, or like you said, where anyone they can catch up to those people who have already.
Yeah, and all the pro AI articles I'm seeing, like there was one the other week in Foreign Policy, which is a magazine that, you know, sometimes I'll check. And I just click on who's writing it, and it's the chief of staff to the CEO of Google, who is spearheading their AI initiative. Yeah. Like, about how
non-partial.
How AI could revolutionize diplomacy. I was like, oh, this is bullshit. And then when I see who's writing it, it's like, okay, this is just an advertisement. That's it.
I'm not the first person to say this, and I probably won't be the last, but the AI boom, way more than like the crypto boom, resembles the, you know, early 90s like tech bubble, where like all of these things that AI is going to solve, or all of these things that AI, you know, is vaguely going to improve. And we've had this for a while now, especially as like it's been in the public sphere for a while, but it seems like now that it's becoming a little bit more accessible, a little bit more, you know, appable, you can fit like your AI chatbot into an app now. People are really falling for the grift the same way people fell for the pets.com grift, where it's like, this is all to get money into like 100,000 plus AI tech startups, or tech startups that, you know, or not even tech startups, just startups that thinly put AI over whatever they're actually doing. And, you know, we'll see how many of them fall apart over the next 18 months.
It's Yeah, I just wish that there was some sort of like institutional understanding of when you're being fed bullshit and when
Well-
you're not. And like for people that did training and coding and stuff like that, or maybe you took out a loan to do that kind of thing, and you went to a for-profit college, or like you were sold a bill of goods on that front. That's basically the only kind of professional class where I feel sympathy for having anxiety about an artificial intelligence boom, because that was when you were sold that bill of goods. That was because capitalists needed your human labor to make money, and then maybe if that ends up being obsolete, which I still am even skeptical if that's the case, but if it does, that I have much more sympathy for than, again, like executives wanting to play catch up on the AI technology and weirdos who are kind of just like dorks on Twitter worried about a middle schooler cheating on an English exam. It's just so dumb.
I think to your points in some order, maybe not the way you deliver them, so I can't remember specifically, but I think it's harder for tech reporters to be, and also business reporters to be critical about tech industry, because it's hard. They, more than any other industry, they don't want to seem like they're being anti-future. I think that some people have an anxiety, about seeming like a Luddite, about seeming, like they are the person writing against the internet in the 90s, now that we're in the 2020s and we've seen that the internet did take off. So they give a wider berth to things that like have a veneer of high tech to them, to the detriment of the public just trying to learn about those things. And, the other side of what you were saying, I think that, actually, no, I forgot the last point, but that's basically it. Yeah, I think, our people need to be a little bit more discerning in their tech reporting, both as reporters and consumers of reporting.